Hi, Jules Blessed Vegan. Yes, I'm still on the planet. For people who follow me, they're like, Jules, what happened to that? You can miss a day policy, but 2 days is a habit. Like, where have you been? Oh, people. Oh, my goodness. A couple of years ago, I made it my goal to find balance. How'd that go? Not very, not very. Okay, let's just say I'm a passionate person who really gets into whatever it is. I have not found balance. Oh my goodness. But I did name this one change. How well do you deal with change? And I'm what they call a career teacher. I've been doing it forever. I've been formally teaching. This is the end, dare I say, of my 26th year. But even before that, I worked at daycare. I was a camp counselor. I worked at preschool. It's just like been my whole life. I've always done it. And so what I meant by living my life by the calendar, because most people, of course, try and have a calendar. I mean that as a teacher, and it was true for me as a little kid too. Certainly as a student, we have a sense of all the holidays and what's coming. I mean, you can't help but get ready for the new school year, right? Like you just know that it's coming. For people who are blessed, it's Labor Day, which was true when I was a little kid, but as a grown-up, as a teacher, it has never been Labor Day. Okay, and even now, it's just earlier and earlier. The kids come the first week of August, or certainly the second week of August. But there's kind of this excitement that goes with it, right? To get your school clothes ready, to get stuff. And as a teacher, of course, I have to get the classroom and things ready. And then you kind of go through, the seasons throughout the school year. What's coming up? When is Thanksgiving? And even the things, and it's appropriate that I'm in my classroom right now to do this, that even the change of the classroom from putting fall leaves up, on the calendar and putting up things for the Halloween and for the Christmas, and like everything is so seasonal. And I always struggled with change, and I get that change is the only constant in life. I totally get that. But I've always struggled with it. There's always been kind of a melodic is music, but is that used for melancholy? I may have misused that. I think it would be melancholic. Okay, so melodic is music and melancholic is melancholy. Okay, thank you for schooling me myself. Since this is Insanity Party of One, your table's ready. I am alone. This would be when my husband would be like, did the person actually answer the phone? No, hon, it was a machine. You sounded like they were on with you. Same thing. Is anyone listening to your live Facebook chat? Yeah, that's a no, but I'm happy to do it anyway for when they eventually show up and watch. Okay, so anyway, yeah, change is the only constant in life. I totally get that. But I struggle with it. And of course, change can be good or bad. And still, I always have a sense of, I don't know, even when it's good, I still struggle. So it's so interesting. When I was little, I would get my hair cut. Or if I didn't get it cut, my sisters would want to braid it or put it in cute ponytails or whatever, right? Because I had so many sisters and it was just fun. I was their little practice doll. But especially if I got it cut, I would be lamenting for days. Like the change in the moment, I was fine. And then the change would just knock me out. Can we go back? I remember it was so funny. I was in kindergarten. I already knew how to ride a bike on 2 wheels. And I asked my father if I could get a tricycle. And he was like, a tricycle? You already know how to ride a bike. I know, but I never had a tricycle. Like I was lamenting what wasn't already, and it's the same thing. It's like every year at this time of year, inevitably, some teachers are retiring. And I'm so sorry to see them go. Some people aren't coming back because they've chosen to move or go to a different school. It's so hard to see them go. My class, hi, congratulations, you're moving on to 7th grade. I mean, that's the way of the world. Yay, you. but I already feel myself having kind of a panic or anxiety over all of the change. It's just so interesting. So as always, it's not so much that there's change, but what do we do with it, right? How do we respond to it? And that's making sure for me, food challenged, right, that I don't try and comfort myself over it with food, that I trust that life inevitably does move on and that it's just different. My friend Tanny Raw, I love to say that. My friend Tanny Raw, and if you don't know her, look her up on every social media platform for health. She is a phenom. She always says that it's not difficult, it's just different, It's not harder, it's just different. And that's what I'm kind of reminding myself of. Like one thing, I've been walking the track at lunch, which is so lovely. I absolutely ensure that I get in my 2 miles, sometimes a little more. And then I know that when I'm driving to school and back, I'm going to listen to the Mass online. I'm going to pray my rosary. Like it's a really easy way for me to check off the boxes in my day. Well, when school's out for summer, I don't have access to those norms, right? So it's like, okay, what are you going to do to make sure that you still have the discipline to get those things in when they don't necessarily come easy? Like if I have no choice but to drive to school for 50 miles, then I can be productive and get that done. Well, you're not going to be driving for that hour and 15 minutes, right? If you have no choice but to conduct PE, and for part of that is walking the track with kids, and then you use your lunch as a discipline to get the rest done, it's not going to be available to you. So that's kind of what I mean about the anxiety of change. I do like the cyclical seasons of a school year, but it's always hard. Change is just hard for me, and it's okay. It's okay to know that and recognize that. What matters is how I act on it. So I wanted to talk to my JBV community first to say, yes, I still exist. And I'm glad that in the last 2 days, I kind of took care of myself. It was kind of funny on, what is today? Thursday? So on Tuesday night, I was so busy with all of the paperwork. There's so much stuff at the end of the year, from report cards to what they call cumulative folders that you have to fill in, just so many things. And of course, you also want to do the celebration stuff, right? So the fun part of giving children awards and, what cool activities can you do at the last week that are different? So just like I can speak all of those different things. And so I was super busy, and all of a sudden I realized it was 1:25 in the morning. And I was like, yes, I missed midnight. I missed my JBV video. Dare I do it right now? And I was like, no, you have to get up in like 4.5 hours. You said you would take a break if you needed one. Trust that you missed this day and move on. So that was cool. And then yesterday was Wednesday. I will be straight up with you guys. Between all that's going on and what really is emotional for me, it's emotional for me to have all this change coming. Yes, I celebrate. Yes, I give the cards. Yes, I donate the money. Yes, I go to the parties. They had a special ed party yesterday, and they had a barbecue out there, and everyone was invited, whether they teach sped ed or not, and come on over and get one. And of course, I didn't partake of any of that, but they had cards for the people. Like, there's stuff going on. And by the time I got on the road to go home, not only, of course, did I stay till 5:00, but I got in my car, which was another 50 miles. I couldn't keep my eyes open. And I knew it far exceeded my lack of sleep, which is so typical. But I could not keep my eyes open. I literally had the air conditioning blowing. I was smacking my face. I mean, this is rare for me, really rare. And I've been eating super clean for the last few weeks. So I am open to say it could be a bit of detox hitting me at this time. And of course, I'd had my first COVID shot, but I feel like I got through that fine. But I was open to anything. But what I needed to do was have the grace to say I'm going to bed. I never do that. Never, 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 never. I can't even tell you how I do not do that. I mean, as difficult as everything has been, I've never been absent in the last 2 school years, which is amazing. Like, honestly. And for me to allow myself to go to bed is something I don't do. But everything about me, emotionally, physically, was all saying, girl, you are going to go to bed and apologize later, like to whatever that looks like. And so I got home, helped take care of the animals, offered my husband dinner, did the things. And my husband was like, well, where's your dinner? And aren't you going to eat? And I'd only had citrus and celery in the late afternoon before heading home. And I had all my water, 20 cups, yay God. And I was like, you know what? To be fair, I'm just tired and I'm not going to eat right now. Like, hello, I'll be okay. He could not believe it. And then I went to bed with the premise that I would get back up in a couple of hours if I needed to and get on with it. I did get up in a couple of hours only to proclaim that I had to go back to sleep. Like, honestly, oh my gosh. And he was like, who are you? It was hilarious. So yeah, I totally slept. So if you're like, well, you're looking really fresh, Jules. I slept and slept. And you know what? That was okay. And I came back today and I got right on with everything and I felt great and did all that was expected of me. And I will do all that's expected of me tonight as well. But I thought, you know, I'm in this setting. This setting is causing me stress in a really beautiful way. I mean, it's lovely that people get to retire. It's great that people are moving on with their next chapter and choosing to teach elsewhere. It's fantastic that I got my children to the end game and that I've prepared them for 7th grade. All of it's good. But unless I take a moment to process what it is that is affecting me right now emotionally or in any way, I will inevitably slip and end up eating over it. So I wanted to check in with JVV. Do you guys relate? Is change difficult for you? And thanks for letting me take a moment to process. Yay! Thanks for nobody who came. You guys are awesome. I never expect anyone to come. When they do, it's awesome, but I'm content. So thanks for letting me talk to myself. Like if you like, join us if you haven't, subscribe. And until we talk again, best of all, know that you're blessed, my friends, and that I will find you on my other JVV video.